Hey guys, listen, Kyle Cortiana here. I'm going to show you guys how easy it is to change your oil on your Mercury ProXS 4-stroke. You don't need much time, and it saves you a little bit of money, and it's kind of hard to get in and out of the service crews right now. Sometimes these guys are 5-6 weeks out just to get an oil change. So we got a day off here on the Bassmaster Opens. I canceled it, so I'm going to change my oil. It needs to be done. You need to change your oil every 100 hours. You're going to need these key items here. It's 7 quarts worth of 4-stroke Mercury oil. And so I've got 2 gallons, which is 8 quarts. I'll have an extra quart. You're going to need your oil filter. So there's a part number there. Make sure to check the serial number on yours and compare it with the part number. Make sure you get the right oil filter. I also have an oil filter pliers, set of oil filter pliers to help me take off the oil filter and put the new one on tightly. Other than that, you just need somewhere to drain your oil and somewhere to discharge your refuse oil or drop it off. I've already got a deal with a local place that sells oil. They gave me a 5-gallon bucket. They said, fill it up, bring it back to them, and they'll take care of it. So kind of do a little pre-planning so you know where to get rid of your oil, to discard of it safely and legally. Basically, anywhere that sells oil has to take your refuse oil and they'll discard of it. So let me show you how to change the oil. Okay, so I've already got the cowling off. It's a simple step to do that, but one of the most important things you do before you drain the oil out of here, you want to get the oil to level. So right now, this motor is in a stowed position. Lower this thing level, let all the oil drain out of the oil filter and the system and get it down so that when I pull the drain plug, all my oil is released. So let's lower the motor first. There, that looks level to me. Let's let it set for 10 or 15 minutes and then we're gonna pull the drain plug. All right, so now we've allowed the motor to drain. You're gonna need a wrench. You're gonna need a 5/8 inch socket wrench here for this Mercury. And this little valve right here, and now we're on the starboard side of the motor now, driver's side of the motor, right side of the boat. And we're gonna take this and we're just gonna gently loosen this up just a hair to where now we can manually do it. So we're gonna put this on there. We're gonna turn it counterclockwise. It's probably gonna be a little tight. There we go. We got a little turn. And notice no oil is coming out yet. That's kind of by design. So now I can loosen this with my hand, and you don't want to over loosen it. No more than a couple of full turns would be over loosening. So don't do that. But you'll see oil start to come out of here. We got our 5-gallon bucket here that the local refuse place said we could fill it up, bring it back to them, and they'll take care of it. So we're using that, but they got really cool containers that catch it, collect it, have lids, things like that. So you might want to look into that too. But now we're going to take this and slowly start to loosen it by hand until oil starts to come out. And I'm wearing gloves because I tend to get a little bit messy. And there we go. I'm going to unscrew it so that it gets a nice stream. So I've got my rag ready here. When I'm done, I'll be able to wipe what little bit got on the motor itself. But this oil is draining out of here. It's pretty dark, so I definitely needed some new oil. And I'm pretty excited about getting this done and do the proper maintenance on your Mercury motors, and they'll run for a long, long time. All right, so all the oil is done draining. My bucket's full of oil, so to speak. Now I've got a little bit of residual that I'm gonna clean up, but it's done draining. So we got a little bit residual mess cleaned up. Now we're gonna tighten this back down. And you don't wanna over tighten it, but you can tell when it's there. It's there for sure. So now I'm done doing that. Now we just got to take the oil filter off, put a new oil filter on, add some oil. So let's do that. All right, so now I'm going to take my oil filter pliers and I'm going to start loosening this by turning it counterclockwise. Get a hold of it. Yeah, we got a little torque. And there. Once we get going, we can do the rest by hand. So now I'm just going to want to inspect the housing right there where it seats, and I'm going to get me a clean shop towel and I'm going to clean around this rim to make sure there's nothing there to prevent the new oil filter from seating flush against that. All right, so the next step, we're going to take our oil filter out. It's our new oil filter. Notice, it's just clean, it's dry, and so we want to put a little bit of oil on here. You want to ream it, just use your finger. If I still have my gloves on, that'd be great, but I'll do it away. And you're just going to ream this edge with some oil. So get your finger in there, get a little bit on there. And then you just want to rub it around this edge. That'll help give it a good seal when you put the new one on. And so I'm just going to rub it around there. It ain't going to hurt for it to be on there at all. It'll really help it get a good seat. So now let's put our new filter on. So we'll come over here. And it's as simple as just screwing something on screwing something on clockwise. So we're going to place the new filter on. All right, should screw on really easily. Make sure you don't cross thread it. I'm gonna get it on there as tight as I can with my hand. And then I'm gonna use my oil filter wrench and tighten it no more than 1 full turn, probably a 3/4 inch turn with that. You don't wanna over tighten it, but that'll be a good snug fit. So let's do that. There's about half a turn. That's probably a full turn. So that's good and snug. Don't need to over tighten it. You can definitely squeeze that thing too hard. You don't want to do that. That ain't going nowhere. So now your oil filter's on. Now we're ready to add 7 quarts of oil. All right, so right here on top of your motor, we got the cowling off. And right here on top, you can see, I mean, this is your dipstick, and this is where you fill the oil. So we're gonna take this cap off here. There we go. Now we're just gonna place a funnel in that and fill it up. We're gonna put 1 gallon in, then we're gonna pull our dipstick and check it and see if it coincides with 1 gallon. Then we'll put it back down and we'll put in not another full gallon, it's 7 quarts. So each gallon is 4 quarts, that's 8 quarts total. So you just wanna start spot checking it. So Mercury's made it really easy. They got this nice diagram here. Here's the top of the dipstick, here's the bottom. So anything in between the yellow ball 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 is a good operating range. But you can see kind of the ideal range is that 4th ball right there. So I've got this pulled out. Again, it came out of that hole right there. Got this pulled out, follows the diagram. So I'm gonna fill this up until this 4th ball has got oil dripping off of it. So I'm gonna stick it back in there. And now we're gonna put our filter on. Some filter in here. Now we're just gonna start adding oil. So now that I'm done putting in 1 gallon, I'm gonna pull this dipstick here and I'm gonna take a look at it and just see what it's reading. Okay, so you wanna be looking for where oil is dripping. So there's definitely oil dripping on that very bottom ball, which is good. And then here, if you look at these other ones, I've got oil dripping to right about there, so not even that ball there. So I've still got to add more oil to get to that ball. That's the ball that I'm trying to get to. And it looks like right now I'm right about there. I'm gonna start adding my 2nd gallon, but again, I don't need 2 full gallons. That's 8 quarts. This is only a 7 quart system, so you're gonna have to stop and check it. Mercury's even got a cool thing here. They'll tell you, you know, how many liters or how many quarts you're on. So ideally, we need to put this thing down, and I need to use 3 of these quarts. So I need to have 1 quart left when I'm done. So I'm probably gonna stop somewhere in this range and check it. All right. So you can see it bouncing around there. I've got a little, right about 2 quarts left. So this was 4 quarts. I put in 4 already. I've used 2 of these, so I put in 6 quarts. So I should only be 1 quart low. So again, I'm gonna check my dipstick. And again, pay attention to where it's dripping. It's dripping off of those 3 balls. So that's exactly where I thought I'd be. I'm about a quart low, maybe not even a full quart low. All right, so I've added about 1 more quart. Check my dipstick 1 more time. And as you can see, we're dripping off of the 4 balls, this one included. So we know we're right where the recommended range is. So now all that's left to do is put this cap back on, put the cowling on, and then put it in the water. If you got some musk, put it on, let the motor run, let it idle for a good 10-15 minutes, get that oil running through there, and you're good, you're done. Make sure you maintain oil pressure, use your SmartCraft gauge during that time frame. It'll tell you if you did anything wrong, you'll get an alarm. So I hope this helps you guys if you want to change your oil on your own. All in all, with the drain time and everything, it's probably about a 30-minute process. And then you got some cleanup if you're like me, if you didn't have the hoses. So get you guys some of them rubber hoses and you won't have to spend an extra 10 minutes cleaning it up. So click like, click subscribe. We'll see you guys in the next one.